Like you're just thinking like this is supplemental. And then you make $1,000 a month, and then you make 10, and then you make 20, and then it just keeps going 30. And you're just like, holy shit, man, this is for real. Like this is not like a side hustle anymore.
So you launched this first program, and I just want to go into the psychology of this. So you're doing it, you're seeing if this thing's going to work. Seems like there's a bit of I don't know, fear or just uncertainty.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I'm not an online, like social media is such an interesting place because people just assume they're like, oh, I'm just outgoing social media person. No.
Yeah.
Like I am not that person. Like I am an introvert that can be extroverted. I don't want my face out on everything. Like that's not the goal.
Yeah.
So like by putting that program out, it's like, you know,
that's a piece of you.
You're literally sitting there. I remember sitting there on my phone about to post this thing on social media. Like, you know, that was back when Instagram had like the swipe up thing before it was like a button. And you're just like, I'll swipe up for this new program. And you're hitting like send, like, you know, just waiting for some coach to be like, oh, you sell out, you Dave Matthews Band, you know, whatever sort of concept like that. But it definitely, I still feel that anxiety though, if I'm being quite honest. Like I just launched a new mobility program and you're just like, man, is this 15 minutes over? Like, are people still want to learn? Like, because there's so many other options now. And then, you know, it did well. So it's just, it's constantly, but it's the same concept of like speaking. Like I've been asked to speak in front of all these audiences and like at conferences, and people are always like, oh, do you still get nervous? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like, cause I got something to lose. Like I respect my peers and I value their opinions. So I don't want to let them down.
Yeah.
So when I think about launching a program or something like that, I still have that same anxiety, like that sort of imposter syndrome of like, are people going to buy this? Are they not going to buy this? Like, do I think I'm cooler than I am? Like, who do I think I am launching this program type deal? But there are people that value you. So it's definitely a hurdle to jump, but I'd be lying to you if I said that if I'm past that hurdle, like I still feel those.
Yeah. Does any of it come to fruition? Like, does any of that fear end up as, I don't know, angry comments in DMs or text messages or things like that? That
from people? Or?
Yeah, like those fears that you had, are they real? Like
no.
Yeah.
They're all self-fabricated. You're just in your brain. So I read this tweet. I can't remember who posted it. I wish I could give him credit. But it said, maybe you don't have imposter syndrome. Maybe you're just not as cool as you thought you were.
Yeah.
And now every time I have that feeling, it kind of ego checks me because I'm like, I'm just a dude.
Yeah.
Like, we'll see what happens. Who cares? But that feeling of that anxiety, that stress, like, how is this going to be perceived? Like, no one wants to fail. Like, if you spend weeks planning this program and, you know, my kids are coming into my office. I'm like, stop, guys. I'm recording these videos. I'm doing all this stuff. When I launch that program, my kids are going to ask, like, hey, Dad, how'd it go? Like, my wife's going to be like, hey, or, like, she'll joke, like, her joke is, are we rich now? I'm like, no, we're not rich.
Yeah.
But it's like those expectations, like, because my time went towards this. So I almost feel the anxiety from my friends and my family of like, well, did it work?
Yeah.
And even if it did work, like, is it going to keep working?
Yeah.
And like your friends, even my coaching friends will reach out and be like, hey, how'd that program do? How'd that thing do? So, and it's like that anxiety is still there constantly.
Yeah, that you want to report good news. So this idea of like, did it work, right? So like, all right, there's a coach, he decides, hey, I'm going to, maybe reallocate some of my time away from maybe one-on-one training or take some time away from the hours I spend in this facility, and I'm going to start working online, right? So there's some steps to take, and we've talked about, understanding, okay, what program or what type of offering do you want to offer? And then there's there's like this leap of faith of launch and learn, if you will. Did you have a barometer of like, did that work? Like, did you have a goal? And you don't even need to get into the specific numbers if you don't want, but like, was there some meter that you wanted to hit to know whether or not you should keep investing in this?
I remember from our conversation, it was like, you said, how big can this go?
Yeah.
And in that point in my life, I was like, man, I don't know. In my head, I'm thinking, well, I make this much money a year at the gym I owned. If I could make some of that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Like, you're just thinking like, this is supplemental. And then you make $1,000 a month and you're like, oh, that's nice. That's kind of cool. That's some extra spending money.
Yeah.
And then you make $5,000. You're like,
This is getting interesting.
This is getting interesting. And then you make 10, and then you make 20, and then it just keeps going, 30, and you're just like, holy shit, man, this is for real. Like, this is not like a side hustle anymore. This is like a real way to provide for your family. But it all started from those first insecurities, those first leaps.
Yeah.
But it's that adage of coaches say, it's like you don't know until you try.
Yeah.
And as coaches, we're willing to jump into an internship with no thoughts of making money or no guarantee of making money, but like there's hesitancy with doing something like this. It doesn't make sense. Like if you're willing to make that commitment for people that don't know you or don't care about you, you should be willing to make the same commitment. And then every time I talk to a coach and I talk about the freedoms that it's provided me, they're just like, well, I want that. I'm like, well, you just have to take that step. And I hate to keep bringing up things that mentors have told me, but I had another mentor when we first talked, and I talked about transitioning to the online space. And he said, one good piece of advice, he said, build a bridge before you need to cross it. And to me, when I think of side hustles, that's what I think about. So to me, online training, that was like a side hustle. Like, oh, this is great. I'm still training people in person, but I'm building this bridge before I need to cross it. And then before I knew it, that bridge is like built. And it's like, damn, I can cross this bridge right now. I don't have to, but I can. And to me, that's where this online training space is. Like, build this bridge before you need to cross it. Maybe one day you don't ever cross it. You just have this nice little land developed over there that you get to pull some money from here and there. Or maybe you decide, hey, I don't want to work here anymore. I want to cross this bridge and go full time. Yeah. But it's that concept of knowing your worth, knowing your value, knowing your experience and what you know, and building that bridge before you need to cross it.
Yeah. Build the bridge before you cross it.
Yeah.